Hi! It's a blessed day for us to begin with our lesson. I am Louie Dino, teaching in Magallanes National Vocational High School and your EPAS teacher. Now, before we start our lesson, let's watch this video first. Based on the video that we have seen, can you guess what's our lesson for today? Last time we worked with 3-wire wash timer. And for this lesson, we will learn and apply how 6-wire wash timer and selector switch are installed and operated in a washing machine. Let's have a look in the wiring diagrams of the 3-wire wash timer and 6-wire wash timer. Have you noticed any difference between the two diagrams? Correct! The first diagram shows no selector switch, while the other one has a selector switch. Another thing is that the selector switch has 3 wires connected to the wash timer. From the complete wiring diagram of the washing machine, we removed other wiring connections and devices just to focus in the installation and operation of the 6-wire wash timer and selector switch. We removed the earth ground of wash motor, spin motor, and voltage supply. Since the washing machine requires a high voltage, for safety purposes, we replace voltage supply into AC to DC converter 12 volts, and the wash motor replaced with 2 LED bulbs 12 volts. Replacing these devices will have the same operation in the circuit as shown in the diagram. By looking at the diagram, now it's easier and safer to do our task. Let us now prepare the tools, equipment, devices, and materials needed for activity. Analog multi-tester, wire stripper or side cutter if you don't have, 6-wire wash timer, selector switch, AC to DC converter 12 volts, 2 LED bulbs 12 volts, 2 lamp holders, 4 pieces of fuse glass, 1 fuse holder, and an electrical tape. Before you do the activity alone, you are encouraged to observe me as I demonstrate to you how the 6-wire wash timer and selector switch are installed and operated to the washing machine. After the observation, I will accompany you while doing the activity, following the activity guide, and then right after, you will do it unaccompanied, guided only with self-paced performance tasks. Let's start! We'll begin to test the 6-wire wash timer. 1 wire connected to the input voltage supply, 3 wires connected to the selector switch, and the 2 wires connected to the LED bulbs. We will use the table guide for the connections. Set the multi-tester under R times 1K, adjust the adjuster knob at 0 ohm. Be sure not to touch the metallic part of the test probe since we have high resistance. Turn the wash timer's knob at least 90 degrees clockwise. While the wash timer is ticking, we will do the testing. Do you see the gray and brown wires separated from the 4 wires? Connect the test probes to the 2 wires. The pointer deflects at 0 ohm. Therefore, there is a continuity to the 2 wires. Test it for about 10 to 20 seconds to see if the pointer will move. Usually, the shorter wire will connect to the input voltage supply and the other one from the selector switch. Next is the yellow and red. Connect the test probes to the two wires and wait again for about 10 to 20 seconds. If the pointer did not move, therefore, these two wires will be connected to the wash motor. Then the brown and blue wires will be connected to the selector switch since we found already that the yellow and red wires do not have a continuity. Now that the table is complete, let's proceed to the selector switch. We will use another table for the connections. Again, this is the selector switch. This device is used in washing machine in the selection for normal and heavy washing. Test the three terminals using again the multi-tester to check the continuity. Do you see that one terminal is separated from the two terminals? Okay, so usually the separated terminal is the common connection to the two terminals. Let's check if we assume correctly. Let's say the separated terminal is the T1, next is T2, and the last is T3. Connect the test probes to T1. There is a continuity, then T1 and T3, there is no continuity. Let's switch the knob and test T1 and T2. No continuity. Then T1 and T3, there is now continuity. Therefore, switching the selector switch left or right, T1 will still be the continuity of the two terminals. After testing these three terminals, we have confirmed that our earlier assumption is correct. So the common terminal will now be connected to the gray wire of the wash timer. Based on the setting of the washing machine, T2 will be the normal and T3 will be the heavy. Normal indicates shorter seconds to rotate in the wash motor and the heavy takes longer seconds to rotate in the wash motor. Now let's go back to the brown and blue wires of the wash timer. To know which wire connects to T2 and T3 selector switch, we will test the brown and yellow wire, then brown and red wire using the multi-tester. Brown and yellow wire, and brown and red wire. Now, test the blue wire and yellow wire, then blue wire and red wire. Blue, yellow wire, and blue and red wire. Therefore, the brown wire tested to the yellow and red wire took about 5 seconds to have a continuity. And the blue wire tested to the yellow and red wire took about 10 seconds to have a continuity. So the brown wire will be connected to T2 from the selector switch, that is normal, and blue wire will be connected to T3 from the selector switch, that is heavy. And now let us label the wires of the 6-wire wash timer and the selector switch in the wiring diagram. And then we will proceed to do the wiring connections of the devices as patterned in the wiring diagram. After we have completed the wiring connections, we are now going to operate the circuit. From the video that we have seen earlier, we observed that the selector switch was used. In the normal selection, there is about 4 to 5 seconds rotation in the wash motor. While in the heavy selection, there is about 10 to 12 seconds rotation. In the operation of the completed wiring connections, the AC to DC converter acts as the voltage supply in a circuit to work, and the two LED bulbs exchanging lights are expressed as the wash motor movements, the forward and reverse. When selected normal, in the selector switch, the two LED bulbs light up only for about 5 seconds. And when we select heavy in the selector switch, the two LED bulbs light up for about 10 seconds. The only difference between the two is the number of seconds it rotates in the wash motor. Now it's your turn to do the activity. Follow the activity guide using the materials provided for you. I shall move around to monitor and answer your question should there be any. Now you will manage to do the activity on your own. Answer the self-assessment checklist as you go along with your activity. Your performance will be graded based on the rubric given. And now that you are competent, you may now proceed to our next lesson. See you on our next session. This is your EPAS teacher, Sir Louie Dino, in Magallanes National Vocational High School. Have a blessed day.